In conversation, often we're quite intrigued about internal affairs and internal matters and things that are away from common experience of you. That's also a big question mark. There's always, for the most part, two worlds, minimally speaking. One that's being projected, one that is actually internal, and one that is actually happening. It's actually three. This is base, at least. There can be multiple now, depending on projecting differently here, differently there, differently there. For this one, internal area is different. For this one, internal area is different. For this one, internal area is different. And things can be changing on the actual battlefield and playing ground. What this is now, any type of experience, when we speak of, I know because I've experienced it, or I know because I spoke to them, I know because I know them. The problem with that statement is that what we know, what we heard, what we understood, what we see, what we noted mentally, all these things are based on our own filters. The way we perceive things, what we believe to be true, right, good, bad, ugly, wrong, etc. If I'm a very enthusiastic environmentalist now, I see someone throwing out furniture. Now I'm a little bit passionate over the matter. And I say, look how irresponsible this type of behavior is. They are so inconsiderate. They could easily either recycle this material or donate this material or whatever it is, but this is not the way. This will go to the landfill and this will just create more garbage for the planet. How can they be so small-minded or so self-centered or so whatever judgment I can plaster over that image? From the other perspective, they could probably see it as there was something that was there, it has too much sentimental value, it has a certain amount of energy. If I give it out, it won't be good for the other person, it is better that it gets thrown out. Or maybe someone will come by and take it and use it. Or maybe someone else, somehow or another, something else would happen. They were in a different thought process. Had nothing to do with what I thought. This is the whole 6 and 9 method, where both are right, and yet they're still thinking different. There can be a third perspective to that. There can be an 8th perspective to that. There can be a 25th perspective to that. As many minds looking at that situation, they can have a different perspective based on each history, based on each perspective, based on each's passion and grade of passion and attachment and so forth to the situations. Likewise, when we interact, we can be under the same roof for 1/4 of a century or half a century and still not know each other. Why is that? When we're oblivious to what is happening in this direction, there is no way, shape or form we can recognize what is happening going in that direction. We have certain parameters, certain filing cabinets, which the mind says, okay, if a person frowns, they're either unhappy or angry. Depending on how we take it, we could say unhappy, some people say angry. If they are smiling, they must be happy. If they are joking, they must be in a good place. If whatever it is, we have certain categories in our mind, placing certain behaviors, placing certain reactions, placing certain words, placing certain behaviors and so forth in particular categories. The problem with that is that is limited. A person could be very distraught and still laughing. Now, what would we label that also? Oh, it is madness. The person has gone mad. No. The wires have either gotten crossed, which is still allowed. The energies are mixed to such a certain degree that they're indecipherable, which is also still allowed. We also expect, the mind expects pureness, pure red, pure orange, pure green, pure blue, pure sadness, pure happiness, pure anger, pure whatever it is. Emotions are seldomly pure. Thoughts are seldomly one-dimensional and pure. They are 99.99% of the time a mixture of at least two. At least. And that's if we're very calm and clear within ourselves. Tears of joy. Now, when we go into the poetic side of things, now all of a sudden they become an expression. So you have tears of joy, or they laughed at the death of whatever, and so on and so forth. Now you start getting to mixed emotions on the artistic line and length. It depends again who you're speaking with. For a very rigid, they expect pure. For an artistic, the lines become a little bit more blurry. To some now, the opposites become the expression of that. Things get channeled in particular ways that may or may not be healthy. That is also a form of expression. But we cannot recognize any of these things, all these fine nuances, all these complexities, all these finer multidimensionalities of things, interactions, until we start sorting all the threads within us. When we start realizing, okay, this is what actual anger feels like. I express that as anxiety, but it's not anxiety. I'm trying to avoid a particular emotion. Or I'm not angry at this person at all. I'm sad. I am not angry at that person. I'm angry at myself. There's certain ways the mind avoids dealing with emotions and thoughts and situations. This is that zahar, the poison. Vish, jo Atma Manthan ke samay mein, when you start introspecting and we start cleaning through this side, when we start realizing, I have these type of thoughts also, I have these type of emotions, I have a thought and emotion from when I was 3 or 5 or whatever it was, or what was going through my head that I reacted and I said that, oh God, the whole feeling of shame and guilt and that whole tumultuous push-pull, and how could I have been such, you do a past life regression and find out we murdered someone or something really bad happened or something, then we want to just seep into the cracks and melt away and not ever exist anymore. All these feelings are natural one, but until we don't go through them, we can't notice them, we can't recognize them, we won't know what to do with them, and we certainly cannot befriend them. As long as we're busy running from them, shunning them, shaming them, ignoring them, burying them, doing all the wonderful things that we habitually do because we have to have a socially acceptable face and persona, we cannot grow. We must feel terrible for some time. It's not staying there. It's not feeling terrible and staying there. It's not spending the rest of our life in that guilt or in that shame or in that anger or whatever it is. It's feeling it, seeing it for what it is, making peace with it and letting it go. When we start doing that, not only do we become our own friend, we are actually able to become friend to another. We can see now they have gotten angry or they're sad or they're upset or something, or they're even smiling and they seemingly are supposed to have everything together, but something is off. It's not what's being portrayed. We can feel it because we know it. We've done the work. In this now, the connection level goes deeper. The understanding goes deeper. The humanitarian grounds go deeper. It's not limited to the superfluous, flippant, fragile social structure. There's an allowance and there's an understanding. That does not mean a condonance, because sometimes there is also a thought process that something bad has happened, for this I am reacting this way and this must be allowed. And if you love me, you'll accept this. No. If something bad happened from before, we must take responsibility to clean it up now and and then move forward without having the other person bear the brunt of it. Without having the other person dealing with the screaming, the shouting, all the drama that comes with it, our insecurities and so on and so forth. We can be patient also. When we see someone's trying to work through it, allowing that working through to happen, we don't go with this expectation that, oh, they should be perfect, have everything together, know what they're all about. Because we know what they're all about. No, we don't. It's always an ever work in progress. The more we find out, the more there is to find out. The more we work through, the more there is to work through. We keep revisiting also. The only difference is, it is a spiral. And even though we revisit certain situations, certain emotions, and certain dynamics, we're still not coming from the same historic perspective and the same historic reactions. At least hopefully. When we're on the process of evolving, on the process of cleansing, on the process of understanding and growing, we revisit, understand further, go away, revisit, understand further, go away, revisit, understand further, go and keep doing that until it's clear. Once the karmic baggage and the karmic programming, a certain thought process, there's a certain belief, there's a certain holding on to an attachment. Once that attachment is dissolved, then we're good. There's no longer any need to revisit that. So this fascination as far as andar ki baat, what is happening with that person, or that institution, or that industry, or the this, or the that, or that relationship, or whatever it is, this is good distraction, but it means nothing. Because whoever is seeing anything also, there's coming with a karmic balance from their side of whatever they saw and they experienced and whatever they dealt with. Whoever was going through whatever was being seen, that also there's a karmic balance at the play out of that. There's too many variables at play. In this now, it becomes very difficult to actually say what is going down, unless there is a more deeper understanding, a more holistic understanding, and a deep dive into all the variables. Then a more conclusive guesstimation can still be made. Until then, it's just imagination, waste of time. उससे अच्छा यहाँ देखो, तो वो अपने आप समझ में आ जाएगा. We look at here, automatically, whatever it is we're looking at, we'll come to understand better, without anybody having to tell us. Connection.